Do you remember the old days when the United States and its mouthpiece media outlets used to accuse foreign leaders of being dictators and autocrats for nationalizing natural resources or pursuing independent foreign policies, which means Washington has to drop its smart bombs to spread democracy and human rights, right? Those days aren't over, but the US has added a new criterion for foreign leaders to be labeled as autocrats, and that is buying gas from Russia. Yes, you heard it right. And the first victim is apparently Serbia's President Aleksandar Vučić, who sealed an extremely favorable natural gas deal with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Sunday. Although it is not clear how Serbia would receive the Russian gas if the EU decides to shut off the Russian supply that travels over its member countries, and with Russia already cutting off gas exports to EU members such as Finland, Poland, and Bulgaria. As the war in Ukraine rages and the economic situation deteriorates in Europe due to the counterproductive sanction regimes and banning the import of Russian gas, ordinary citizens are feeling the economic burden on their shoulders with complete disregard by a few European politicians. But not all leaders reject to take care of their people, and Serbia, which was once a victim of NATO, refused to explicitly condemn Russia's offensive on Ukraine and has not joined Western illegal sanctions against Moscow. Serbia, which is almost entirely dependent on Russian gas, has been complaining of Western pressure to join sanctions against Russia. And Serbian officials say that the Balkan country must resist such pressure, even if it means abandoning the goal of joining the EU. Consequently, Serbia's President Aleksandar Vučić is now called an autocrat by the mainstream media and accused of spreading relentless pro-Kremlin propaganda, which has gradually slid Serbia toward aligning with Russia, according to the Associated Press. However, the polls suggest a majority in Serbia would rather join some sort of a union with Moscow than the EU, which means Vučić is in fact following his people's will, instead of following the interests of Brussels technocrats or the American military-industrial complex. And that makes me ask, is the regime change heading towards Serbia?
Ono što smo dogovorili, predsjednik Putin i ja, to je veoma dobra veza za građane Srbije, to je da ćemo potpisati ugovor, to je prvi element ugovora na 3 godine, ne na mesec dana kako su neki predviđali, na 3 godine, što mislim da izuzetno odgovara srpskoj strani. I drugi važan element je to je da će platforma i formula koju koristimo ostati ista, tako da će cena biti veoma povoljna za našu zemlju. Ostaje nam da u razgovorima sa Gazpromom, a ja sam već uputio pismo odmah posle razgovora sa predsjednikom Putinom Aleksiju Borisoviću Mileru, da koliko sutra, preko sutra razgovaramo o količinama. Objasnio sam i predsjedniku Putinu da zahvaljujući velikoj industrializaciji zemlje, značajnom privrednom napretku Srbije u prethodnih 10 godina došlo je do uvećanja količina gasa koje koristimo i da očekujemo mogućnost za dobijanje većih količina gasa, ali to ostaje za količine, za obim, dakle ostaje nam da razgovaramo sa Gazpromom. U svakom slučaju, ako smem to da kažem i ako sve ovo realizujemo iz dogovora koji smo napravili sa predsjednikom Putinom, mi ćemo imati po tom pitanju, po pitanju snabdevanja gasa, sigurnu zimu, a u zavisnosti od dodatnih razgovora sa Gazpromom moći ćemo tačno da vam kažemo koliko će nas prosečan kubni metar koštati, ali u svakom slučaju kada ovo izračunate, to je u ovom trenutku gotovo 3 puta manje nego što, a zimi će to biti i 10-12 puta manje nego što će da plaćaju svi ostali u Evropi.
I've been your host, Georg Almacen of Syrian Analysis. If you like my reporting, please subscribe and hit the like button, as it really helps me with the algorithm of YouTube. And if you want to support my work, please become a patron. Link in the description below, and see you next time.